Hello, I'm Mario. Please, stay with me and I will tell you my business story. Let's start. My business story started recently, but the roots of the story go back long before I was born, on September 8, 1972, when my grandpa Stjepan passed the master's school and started his own company. My grandpa was a fireplaceman. My business story begins with my grandpa Stjepan and comes to me through my father Zlatko. As it happens, my grandpa Stjepan taught my father with his skills and knowledge, who started doing this business as a small boy, still in elementary school. Grandpa Stjepan took him as assistant. Initially, Dad served as a manual labor force, regardless of the fact that he was only a little boy, 50 years old. In Yugoslavia, it was normal for children to do hard physical work. Over time, Dad fell in love with motorcycles and had a great desire to buy an MZTS 250 motorcycle, which at the time cost three average monthly salaries. From where could a 15-year-old child collect three average monthly salaries? Well, from his dad, of course. This is where Dad's business story began to develop. In the beginning, Dad Zlatko had to go with Grandpa Stjepan because he had no other choice, and his salary was ice cream. Later, Dad showed a great ambition and desire to start doing more complex elements in installation of fireplaces, because then he demanded a salary higher than ice cream, a salary that would be enough for his motorbike. Unconsciously, but with a great motive, Dad Zlatko then started learning how to be a fireplaceman. After my grandpa Stjepan was retired, Father Zlatko recognized the opportunity and took over the job, which he does through the company ZRG Kamin Montaža. My story is similar to my dad's. I started with this job in 7th grade of elementary school at the age of 13, when Grandpa Stjepan took me to the field for the first time to install a fireplace. In the beginning, like my dad, I was typical physical force. Bring in, take out, wash, clean, sweep. It was great for me. I didn't physically work any more than I actually could. The bucket with mortar that I carried initially weighed about 5 kilograms, but over the time, as I grew up and got stronger, the bucket got heavier, well, it was easier for me to wear. I had a great motive, which is why I used to come to my grandpa's house on Friday evenings after school to ask him, Grandpa, where are we going to work tomorrow? The motive was, of course, the daily wage. I was more lucky in comparison with my father's Zlatko. I didn't have to work for ice cream because I was grandson in the business, not a son like dad. So my grandpa paid me above 30 euros per day. Today there's not a lot of money, but in period 2006-2014 it was enough to party with friends on the weekends in the nightclub. As I grew up, my grandpa expected more and more from me, and I went from being an assistant who only brings in and takes out. I become a master who can perform some complex process in the installation of fireplace. Little by little, deep inside, I mastered the first steps in this complex job. At the beginning of the COVID pandemic, uncertainty regained in the market. My father Zlatko was already old, and it became difficult for him to do this work alone, and he had to close the company. But even though Father Zlatko stopped doing this job, the demand for fireplaces did not stop. In the fact, with the rampage of Russians in the east and the energy crisis, the demand for fireplaces increased. I was very fortunate that our government offered the cash incentives for self employment. I took advantage of that opportunity and continued where my father left off, becoming the third generation fireplaceman in the family. With my new job, I actually work more than before. I consider myself the luckiest person in the world because I'm doing what I love to do, bringing warmth to people's homes and living from what my hand creates. I wish everyone could become what I become, my own boss.